The Older American Act, Social Security, and Healthy Aging. Objectives for this lesson are to appraise the Older American Act and comprehend the value of Social Security. What is OAA? The Older American Act of 1965 was the first federal level initiative aimed at providing comprehensive services for older adults. President Lyndon Johnson signed the act July 14, 1965. The act was a response to policymakers' concerns about the lack of services for older adults. It followed behind the Civil Rights Act and the Economic Opportunity Act, which included similarly structured programs based around a centralized network of funding for a decentralized community-level service delivery of system. OAA created the National Aging Network, comprising of the Administration on Aging, AOA, at the federal level, state units of aging, and area agencies on aging, AAAs, at the local level. So this set up the federal, state, and local level services for those who are aging. The Act is divided into 7 titles. Title I is a Declaration of Objectives. 2 establishes the Administration on Aging to carry out all the provisions of the Act. 3 provides federal funding for state agencies on aging and establishes the nutrition program, which provides nutritional services such as congregate and home-delivered meals, and is the largest expenditure of the OAA. This title also mandates the creation of corresponding state agencies before states may be eligible for the funding. 4 creates a number of specific projects related to the objectives of the Act, which includes healthcare services in rural areas, computer training, civic engagement, and Native American programs. 5 establishes a program for engaging low-income senior citizens in community service, employment, and volunteer opportunities. 6 establishes grants for Native Americans focused programs on aging. And 7 creates state grants for vulnerable elder rights protection programs. Some programs created by the Older Americans Act include National Elder Care Locator Service, a toll-free hotline for identifying community resources. Support services to promote independence with regard to transportation, home care, legal aid, case management, and adult daycare. Nutrition programs including congregate and home-delivered meals. The National Family Caregiver Support Program to provide respite services, education, training, and counseling to seniors providing kinship care and to the caregivers of seniors. Health promotion, providing educational services, counseling, and consultation. Aging and disability resource centers to facilitate the dissemination of information on available resources. The Older American Community Service Employment Act, which works with the Department of Labor to provide employment opportunities for seniors. Grants to tribal organizations, the Long-Term Care Ombudsman Program, and finally, Elder Abuse, Neglect, and Exploitation Public Education Services, just to name a few. So why is the Older Americans Act important? OAA funds critical services that keep older adults healthy and independent services like meals, job training, senior centers, health promotion, benefits enrollment, caregiver support, transportation, and more. In March 2020, legislation to reauthorize the act was passed by Congress with unanimous bipartisan support, not something that happens hardly anymore. So why does the act matter? It matters because of what it provides and the outcomes it produces. Its programs and services have achieved the main goal of the act when it was passed: to allow older adults to remain independent either in their community or in their homes. In essence, helping people age in a healthy manner. So what is the Social Security Act? A limited form of the Social Security program began as a measure to implement social insurance during the Great Depression of the 1930s, when poverty rates among senior citizens exceeded 50%. The act was enacted August 14, 1935, during President Franklin D. Roosevelt's first term, and by the President's Committee on Economic Security, and passed by Congress as part of the New Deal. The act was an attempt to limit what were seen as dangers in the modern American life, including old age, poverty, unemployment, and the burdens of widows and fatherless children. President Roosevelt became the first president to advocate federal assistance for the elderly. The act provided benefits to retirees and the unemployed and a lump sum benefit at death. Payments to current retirees are financed by a payroll tax on current workers' wages, half directly as a payroll tax and half paid by the employer. Self-employed people are responsible for the entire payroll tax. The act gave money to states to provide assistance to aged individuals for unemployment insurance, aid to families with dependent children, maternal and child welfare, public health services, and the blind. In 1939, there was a trust fund was established for surplus funds, managing trustee and the Secretary of the Treasury. Taxing provisions were taken out of the Social Security Act and placed in the Internal Revenue Code, and renamed the Federal Insurance Contributions Act, which is known as FICA. In 1956, the tax rate was raised to 4%, 2% from the employer and 2% from the employee, and disability benefits were added. Women were allowed to retire at 62 with benefits reduced by 25%. In 1961, retirement age at 62 was extended to men, and the tax rate was increased to 6%. The changing role of the female worker was acknowledged when benefits of the covered women could be collected by dependent husbands, widowers, and children in 1962. And in a landmark move in 1965, Medicare and Medicaid services were added. The age widows could begin collecting benefits was reduced to 60. And in 1972, a 20% increase in benefits payment per month rose from $133 to $133 to $166, set upon cost of living, and established the Supplemental Security Income, known as SSI, for elderly and disabled poor regarding their work history. And in 1977, fixed double indexing mistake was modified and altered the tax formulas to raise more money for the program. And then in 1983, it excluded the Social Security Trust Fund from the unified budget. In essence, it has its own budget. The term for the Federal Old Age Survivor and Disability Insurance, OASDI program, is administered by the Social Security Administration. It's funded primarily through payroll taxes called FICA, or self-employed called SECA, and tax deposits are collected by the IRS and entrusted to the Social Security Trust Fund. Legal residents working in the U.S. have a Social Security number. The largest component is the payment of retirement benefits. Throughout a worker's career, SSA and IRS keep track of earnings. The amount of the monthly Social Security benefit to which a worker is entitled depends upon the earnings. The earliest age at which a reduced benefit is payable is 62, and full retirement benefits depend on a retiree's year of birth. Workers' benefits are based on income. Spousal benefits are 50% of workers' income or their own, whichever is greater. And widows or widowers' benefits are a surviving spouse, which can receive the survivor's benefits if a 9-month duration of marriage is met. Children's benefits are also possible of retired, disabled, or deceased workers who received benefits as a dependent or survivor if they're under the age 18. And disability is a worker who has worked long and recently enough after 5 full calendar months of disability, regardless of age. So here's a depiction of the Social Security revenue and cost. Blue are the payroll taxes. Green are income from taxing benefits. Orange are the general fund reimbursement, and red is the net reimbursement. Also shown on the right are Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security spending amounts. Blue is Medicare, green is Medicaid, and yellow is Social Security. It's a pretty large budget. However, the Social Security Trust Fund has been out of balance for many years. The total income, total cost, and net increase during the year and total assets are shown here in the millions of dollars. This is a significant problem. There's many ways to eliminate the projected shortfall. Lift the payroll ceiling, increase Social Security taxes, raise the retirement age, do a means test benefit, or change the cost of living adjustment, or simply reduce benefits for new retirees, or average in more working years, or require all newly hired people to join Social Security. But as you can see in this picture, most voting seniors say hands off our Social Security. However, one key problem is discrimination against poor in the middle class. For people in the bottom fifth of the earning distribution, the ratio of benefits to taxes is almost 3 times as high as it is for those in the top fifth. This is truly a problem for lower income older adults. So think about it. Why is Social Security important to healthy aging? It supports income for elderly and disabled in the U.S. However, there's a few problems. Approximately $2.8 trillion more in payroll taxes and interest have been paid out since tax collection began in 1937. Funds borrowed are part of the national debt of over $2.9 trillion. There's too few workers to retirees to support the program ongoing. You can see the difference to the right in the picture. In 1960, 5.1 to 1. In 2009, 3 to 1. In 2030, it's expected to be 2.2 workers to 1 elderly. Advocates of major change in the system generally argue that drastic action is necessary because Social Security is facing a crisis. In addition, some older disabled Americans have no other income. The problem is unfunded obligations under Social Security was approximately $8.6 trillion over a 75-year forecast period from 2012 to 2086. Raising the full retirement age for Social Security from 67 to 70 would reduce outlays by about 13%, but it's not popular, as shown here in this picture, where most older adults say hands off Social Security and Medicare. In summary, the Older American Act establishes services for those who are aging and makes available healthy aging services to those who are unable to purchase them. And Social Security supports income for elderly and disabled in the U.S. and funds the Medicare and Medicaid program, which will be discussed later. Thank you.